Welcome to Unveiled, the HPD podcast where we delve into the world of policing. I'm your host, Lieutenant Jeremy Kinchelow, and today we're joined by MPO Dylan Mankey, Officer Justin Lowe, and Miss Jasmine King. All right, thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to be talking about the topic of personnel and recruiting with the Hampton Police Division. Who we have with us, MPO Mankey is our division recruiter. Justin Lowe is one of our background investigators, and Jasmine King is one of our most recent hires for police recruit. You guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm MPO Dylan Mankey. I've been with the police division since 2006. I started off as a police cadet when I was 19 years old. I went to the academy shortly after that, and then I did some time on uniform patrol, did some time in our school resource unit, and now I am in my current assignment, which is the recruiter for the division.
Right, and my name is Investigator Justin Lowe. I have been with this unit for about a year and a half now. Previous to that, I did about 12 years total with the division, where I worked as a cadet initially, and then went on to become a patrol officer and then an eventual road supervisor before coming back to the division as an investigator. So I'm definitely excited to be here and happy to talk about personnel and recruiting.
And I am police recruit Jasmine King. I am from the Las Vegas area. I came out here in Hampton because my husband got stationed out here. He's in the Navy. And I've been with personnel and recruiting because I'm in the pre-hire stage. I've been with them for approximately about a month, and it's been fun, and I'm excited for my next journey.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here with us today. I'm sure everybody's extremely interested to hear what it's like to be a recruit with the Hampton Police Division, what our hiring process is like, and how can they apply and become an officer and join the team. Mankey, I'm going to let you start with that.
Okay, sounds great. So the first step would be applying online, submitting your online application. Once I've received your application, I try to call everybody back within 24 hours. We'll get you scheduled for your physical assessment, which is an assessment, so it's not so much of a pass or fail test. We just want to see a good, solid effort and that you're able to complete the steps in a reasonable amount of time. Once we've completed your assessment, then you're turned over to the background investigators, where they will set you up for your background interview and then schedule you for polygraph, psych, and medical. The final stage of our process would be an interview with our Lieutenant Kinchelow, and then your file goes to the chief for his final review and for final selection. So that pretty much sums up the hiring process itself. It sounds like a lot, but we're very proficient in what we do. With the way technology is, there's no reason for someone to spend 6 to 9 months in a police hiring process like it was at one time. So we move pretty quickly. With that said, we can move pretty much as fast or slow as the applicant needs to, so we kind of work around them. But we get you through it. It's a smooth process, and with the ultimate goal of you starting as a police recruit with us.
All right, and so you talked about physical agility testing as kind of an assessment. So while it may not be pass-fail, they do have to do reasonably well. Can you talk a little bit about what tests are in the physical agility test?
Yeah. So we do. There's a couple different runs that we do. There's a quarter-mile run. There's a 100-yard run. So when I say it's an assessment, I mean you can't be in there walking or anything like that. Like, we need to see a good, solid effort and close to our goal time, which most people are able to push themselves and get them to that point. There's a dummy drag, trigger pull test, vision screening, broad jump, and I think that's pretty much it for as far as the physical assessment portion goes.
All right, and Jasmine, you went through that fairly recently.
I did.
How would you describe the physical agility test? Was it tough? Was it easy to do?
It wasn't. It was tough in the aspect of, like, you obviously want to push yourself and just be the best that you can be, because you're not necessarily fighting for one position. You're just trying to get into the academy and then go from there. But you also want to do a job. Like you don't want to, like you said, you don't want to walk, nothing like that. And so it was definitely different from what I've been through, especially going like the window jump. That was definitely different in a dummy drag, but overall, you can do it. If you put your mind to it, you could definitely do it.
Okay. Is there anything you would suggest to somebody that is preparing for that that they should do ahead of time to get themselves prepared?
Honestly, just run and strength train. I feel like running is just the key to everything.
Yes, it is. All right. Okay, so what positions are we currently hiring for?
So our biggest need is always for police recruits and dispatchers. Also police cadets, which is geared towards people that aren't old enough to go to the academy yet, but have an interest in law enforcement. So we get you in younger, as long as you're over 18 and have your diploma, and then we can work towards going into the academy when you're old enough. So those are our biggest ones. We're also hiring for our animal response team, information clerk, and there's some other civilian type jobs that we have as well. But with the biggest need is really for dispatchers and police cadets.
And MPO Menke, I know you were talking earlier about how efficient our background process is. This is where I will turn to Investigator Lowe. As one of our background investigators, what's the fastest you've ever gotten somebody through background?
Well, our target goal is always 21 working days. Like he explained before, we don't want people who are potentially out of work or just getting out of the military having to sit around for a period of 6 months with some agencies before they're able to be brought on to a paid status. So our goal in our unit is 21 working days, and depending on how quickly we can get you scheduled for your polygraph and your psychological testing, I've had it done in as soon as 2 weeks. But it's all very dependent on the individual, how old they are, what kind of job history they've had, and if they've had any type of like criminal run-ins that require further investigation.
So are there any circumstances where we could get somebody done in a period of, say they're out of town applicant, in a period of a week?
Absolutely. So as long as they have applied previously and submitted their required paperwork, like their background questionnaire and their written waivers that are notarized, I will do everything up front. I will go ahead and I will run their credit. I'm going to look into their local criminal histories and wherever they live. I'm going to contact their employers, and I'm going to do all that legwork ahead of time before bringing them in. That way I can be as respectful to their time as possible. So for people that live out of state, I can bring them in and get everything done. That means their physical abilities assessment, their background interview, their poly, their psych, and their medical done within a 3-day period. That way that they're not having to spend an enormous amount of money either traveling, staying in hotels, or potentially staying with family and being a burden. So I try and get them done as quick as possible, but while respecting our process and making sure that it's done in a thorough manner.
Absolutely. All right, so Ms. King, you have heard us talk about how quickly we can get it done. Do we live up to that?
I think you guys definitely do. For me, it was a very quick process, and Lo was very, very well at communicating. Any questions that I had, I'd reach out. Any questions he had, he would reach out. It was a very quick process.
Okay. And you have a unique perspective because you've gone through our hiring process twice now.
I have.
First time for dispatch. Can you talk a little bit about your experiences in dispatch?
My experiences in dispatch were, I enjoyed them. It's a fun time up there. It's definitely interesting, especially if you want something where you are helping the community, but you're just not physically doing the work. But for me, because I do have prior law enforcement experience, I missed the road. And so that was the reason why I left. And I'm excited to go back to the road. But if people are interested in dispatch, give it a shot, go up there, give it your best, and see what happens.
All right. And you came to us, I know you talked a little bit ago about being a military spouse, and that's how you ended up in the Hampton Roads area.
It is.
Where'd you work at before?
Before, I was employed with Henderson Police Department, and I was a police officer for approximately 2 years out there.
Okay.
And then I moved out here.
And so your time in dispatch, you just were fiending to get back on the road.
Yep.
I understand that. Okay. All right. So going forward, MPO Menke, how do you feel like, or talk a little bit about how many academies we do a year and what those timelines are.
Yeah, so we do three academies a year. Our next academy is coming up in May, and then we'll have one in September, and then we have one in the winter months. So we continuously have academy classes. We have our own in-house academy, so we don't have to send people off to somewhere else. We're training them the way that we want them to be trained, and you're trained by our Hampton police officers. So with whatever the recruits, are learning in the academy, you're learning from the subject matter experts. So if we're teaching about violent crime, then we have detectives and their instructors that'll come in and they'll teach with the real hands-on experience. So you're not just learning from a book or from a PowerPoint. So I tell everybody to take advantage of those opportunities and all of the information that they're able to get from those people, because they really know what they're doing and what they're talking about. The academy itself is about 22 weeks long. It's pretty much an academic setting, so you're like in a high school classroom pretty much for most of that time. They also throw in the hands-on types of things like the driving, defensive tactics, and different role play scenarios and things like that. So there's a good mix of the academic stuff and the hands-on portion of it as well. Once you finish the academy, then you'll go to 10 weeks of field training, and that's where the recruit will apply everything that they've learned from the academy. We're not expecting them to get thrown the keys the first day and say, go out there and show us what you got, but we're going to get them to the point where they're comfortable doing everything. So the goal in field training is to get the recruit to the point where they can pretty much do everything on their own, and they're kind of being shadowed by the trainer until they're comfortable and we're comfortable with them and what they're doing, is what time we would release them to patrol.
All right. Investigator Lowe, I know you talked a little bit about some of the background process. Do you have any advice or suggestions for anybody that is a current applicant or potential future applicant in how to prepare, not just collecting documents, which they may have to get find or locate, but also if they're maybe a little nervous about, say, the polygraph or the psych test?
Right. And it's totally natural for applicants to be nervous about a polygraph examination. They know it's kind of like a high stress, high stakes environment. But what I tell them is that our polygraph examiner is a highly trained professional, and he is going to go through the battery of questions. But the good thing about our background investigation process is that there's no trick questions, there's no gotchas. We go through all the questions ahead of time to make sure that you're comfortable and confident in your responses, and that we give you the best chance possible at passing your polygraph. And of course, that's incumbent upon the applicant to be honest with themselves and with me so that they have that best opportunity to pass.
Okay. So another thing where I was going with that a little bit was a lot of times applicants may, depending on how old they are, if they've moved around, they may have misplaced a Social Security card, a birth certificate, transcripts, high school transcripts, college transcripts. So how important is it that they have those documents when they come in for their background interview?
So it's a requirement that we have all those documents prior to the conclusion of your background interview process. Some people come and they move from out of state to Virginia, and they have access to their Social Security, their birth certificate, and they might not have their high school diploma with them. They say, oh, my parents have that. I didn't think to bring that with me. And that's fine. What I need then is just like some information. Where did you go to high school? What year did you graduate? Who can I contact to get your official transcripts or get a copy of your official diploma? So if you don't have access to these items right now, start thinking about like, where can I get them, or who can I refer him to so that he can get quick access to those documents. So
Right. So it's pretty easy for us to assist people with locating them if they can't find them, and we definitely will work with them. Okay, well, we've talked a little bit about how to get hired, the application process, the background process, but what happens when somebody actually gets here and gets released on their own? maybe we should talk a little bit about our experiences and what it's like to work with HPD. And I'll start. So I'm a 23-year veteran. I started in June of 2006. Throughout my career, I've had a number of assignments. And what's really good about policing, and especially policing in Hampton, while we're not a really large agency, we're also not a really small agency. So we have so many opportunities that everybody else has, whether it be the SWAT team, hostage negotiators, mobile response team, K9 unit, drug detectives, burglary, homicide detectives, like you name it, we have it. And that's one of the things that I cherish most about my career here is that I've had so many opportunities to do so many different things. And I'm one of those people that I can't really sit still for very long. And so you can probably notice that in this chair. But after I do something for a year, 2, 3 years, then I want to move on and do something else and learn. And so I've been able to do that. I had the opportunity of starting in patrol on evening shift Chesapeake. I went from there to patrol day shift, to school resource officer, to detective. I started off as a burglary detective in investigations, and then I worked my way up to robberies and homicides. Got promoted from investigations to sergeant, initially back to patrol as a road sergeant, then our community sergeant for the shift. Got to work in community relations a little bit. Then I went my first stint in personnel and recruiting as the sergeant. And then after doing that for a few years, I got promoted again to lieutenant, back to operations as a shift commander. And then I got transferred to where I'm at now, which is the commander of personnel and recruiting, also an internal affairs investigator, and I'm the commander of our mobile response team or riot control field force team. And so I feel very blessed to have had the opportunity to experience so many things. Menke, what about you?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, honestly, being a police officer is something that, like in high school, it's not something that I planned on doing. I graduated from high school. I was working different like restaurant, timeshare types of jobs, and I wanted something more meaningful. So I had a friend that worked for the Hampton Police Division. She told me about the cadet program, which I had never even heard of that. So I figured, hey, I'll give it a shot. So I started off as a police cadet. After doing that for a little while, working around the police officers, being exposed to law enforcement and what it's really about, that's when I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So that's when I decided I wanted to go to the police academy. I went into the police academy at 20 years old, because you can go into the academy at 20 as long as you graduate by the time you're 21. So I graduated from the academy, I turned 21 on a Friday, and then I graduated that Monday. So it was very quick. I went to patrol. That's where I started off, which helped me kind of build my foundation, to help me be exposed to things. And it helped me be, I think, more well-rounded and set up for whatever it was I was going to do next with the department. So after 4 years of that, I went to the school resource officer unit. I've always enjoyed working with kids, so I thought that would be a good fit for me. And I actually spent 10 years in that unit, which went by so fast because I really did enjoy what I was doing. As a patrol officer on the road, I mean, we're doing a very important job, and we're affecting people, but you may have contact with somebody and you're helping them, but you may not have contact with them again or know how they ended up or whatever else. I felt like in the schools I was able to see my impact, because I was able to see that child grow, or whatever it was that I did to help them. I could see the result, and we worked very closely with the kids, and I saw kids go from elementary school all the way up until us being at their high school graduation. So that was a great experience. I really enjoyed that part of my career here. I decided it was time for me to do something different, so that's when I put in for the recruiting assignment. In this assignment, it's a different different aspect of policing. So I'm not out on patrol. I'm not doing like the typical police or what you would think of that police officers typically do. But I know that my assignment is important because we have to have police officers here. We have to have good people and good talent to help our police division grow and to continue to do well. It's allowed me to travel, to meet a lot of people, to network. So it's been a great opportunity that I've had being in recruiting. In my career, just in general, I've been afforded a lot of opportunities. I've been able to finish my bachelor's degree, my master's degree with reimbursement assistance through the city. With each of my kids that we've had, I've been able to take off a month as far as being able to spend time at home with my kids without my leave really being impacted because our leave accrues pretty quickly. So overall, it's been a great experience for me, and this 20 years, it feels like, has gone by extremely fast so far.
And so you're excited about doing 20 more years?
We'll see.
All right, Investigator Lowe, you've had a unique experience here where at one point you left to be an airline pilot and came back.
That's right.
Tell everybody about your experiences.
So I started off as a cadet, just like MPO Menke. I was working at the York County School Board office at the time as a receptionist, and Corporal Colgan Wilson, his sister, worked in our HR department. She told me about this unique opportunity, so I took it, and since I was 20 all the way to when I was 30, I was on the road. So interacting with the public on a day-to-day basis was like my favorite thing about this position. And being able to either meet new people or interact with familiar faces. Foot patrols were some of the most common things that I love doing on the road, but between being on honor guard, UAV team, and then having the opportunity to go and finish schooling to obtain my commercial pilot's license, and then come back to finish up my career with Hampton Police has been a unique and excellent opportunity, and I really appreciate everything the division has to offer.
Awesome. And we'll finish up with Miss King. You talked about how you got here, your experiences so far. Are you excited for the Academy?
I'm so excited for the Academy. I can't wait. It's going to be a fun time, and it's just great memories that you're going to make, and you're going to make the best friends. The people that you go through the Academy with, they become family to you, so I'm extremely excited for it.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in. If you're interested in a career in law enforcement, Hampton is the place to be. And you can apply right now at www.hampton.gov/hire. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us for Unveiled, a podcast highlighting the extraordinary men and women of the Hampton Police Division. To learn more, check us out on our social media and at hampton.gov/police.